Hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm pretty good with contribution. Get any extra ammo before I go, and I look for. What's in lane? Morning. Very good. No, I've owned just about every kind of vehicle. I've owned several. The only one I never have owned. I, one of these days I love to pop off it. Like having one of those. Oh, gotta figure out what you're talking about. I ride this bike all the time. This weather down here is changing up. Maybe something else to go with a little bit. Come on, pick it up. But it's getting amazing. I know Steve's into the maybe, and he gave a lot of information. No, I've been doing this for 5 years. I swear, I don't know how we get to this. No, oh, I can't remember a minute ago, much less. It depends on the Jeep. It does. They got diesels that are full of tons. It all depends on the Jeep I want. It's gonna be a 4 door, right? That's the second reason. And got a couple trips planned. I got a couple buddies of mine got. Yeah, it depends on the engine and the length of the Jeep. Yeah, the short Jeep will pull him regular Jeep. I had a small travel trailer and I pulled it in Colorado in the mountains. They'll do it. This tow rating is so stupid in the United States. You take the same vehicle, go to Europe, tow rating is twice as high. I think the tow rating on this Wrangler, because it's a 4 door longer wheelbase, I think it's rated higher. I would love to have one of them new $2,000, and this won't be a new 2003, 2004, 2008, somewhere in that range. This gets pretty decent gas mileage. Check on the gas mileage almost. I mean, it runs between highway and city driving. You can do that now. You get the acting crazy. You can roll them gates over. Morning, Jolly. How you doing? Just type in tow rating and put year and the model in on it. It'll tell you exactly what the tow rating is on there. It'll give you the weight, everything on it. Yeah, if you got a big enough bar there, it don't take that. Did he have roll bars in it? Most of the GPs got bars in them. Gas mileage, going back to that, I look like they get between 21 and that's not too bad. Better than my pickup. My pickup, 15, not told anything. So, Lillian, well, that's about what I'm wanting to buy. Well, I wanted Kenny got all packed. Getting close now. Wondering about somebody else too. I know Lorraine was pretty instrumental in getting a bunch of this stuff done for me, and she got sick in the hospital. Hey, Steve, my bud, you got some cute grandkids. Hello, Mr. Roy. Phil. That, Steve, you want to come on up on screen? Keep us from having to type so much. Okay. Now there's the link there. Get ready, we just come on. Steve, like me, they don't make makeup that good, and I'll keep it for a little bit. And take a whole bucket full. I'll, I'll keep it for a little bit. I've got a couple. One reason I want to get this thing, I got a couple buddies of mine, and we got a place down on the tip of Texas that's called Pins. Yeah, I've had 3G, but I never have had a wrangler. But this Pins is 70 miles, yeah, 70 miles long, and there's not a house, light, nothing else. It's just all birds and bees down through there. There's 3 or 4 of us going to take a trip down through there. But you get stuck down there and you can't get out if you're by yourself. It'll cost you about 3 to 4 grand to get out of there. And plus, yeah, I just got some plans for that. So,
Howdy, howdy.
hello there. You got some cute grandkids there, Steve.
Yep. Yeah, they're off for the holiday, Columbus Day. They're off, and I think they're off for 3 or 4 days. So they like to come over and do a sleepover. And we usually go out and try to make it special for them, and do something. And so we went to Wilcox yesterday, and Apple Annie has a farm out there where you can pick vegetables, pumpkins, and do all kinds of stuff out there. So we took them out there, talked about doing it for a long time. We finally got it done this year. So,
That gal, like I say, reminded me of my wife before she died.
oh, Caitlin,
Yeah, she's been
yeah,
standing joking around my house. If you stay still very long, my wife will thank you. I mean, Lord. But she graduated up. In fact, that was the way I met her. She got a contract to do a 18-foot tall, 140-foot long wall mural,
wow,
and she could draw anything except a straight line. Now, she couldn't draw a straight line. She got a building in something. I could draw the building, from drawing blueprints and stuff. But, I showed her how to do a grid and lay it out. You couldn't get the perspective because you were right against the wall. But she was drawing continually. I mean, just there were pins, and she got to doing a deal, and people got to collecting them. She would paint Christmas cards, take blank cards, and
Really?
paint them, and then mail them out. I know some people that's got 8 or 10 of those Christmas cards and frames up on the wall. Good at it.
Yeah,
And like,
those creations are one of a kind. That's for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
what I want to pick your head about, I got the heart to buy a Jeep Wrangler, and it won't be a new one. It'll be something probably an 18 back to 2003, somewhere in that span. Is there any motors or transmissions or rear ends or stuff that are bad in any particular year?
Well, in my opinion, the best motors they put in Jeeps were the 4.0s, the straight six. That's what I have. I have two Jeeps. One's a Wrangler. It's a 2003. It's got the 4.0, and that's just a bulletproof engine. Now, in 2006 was the last year of that body style of the TJ, and then they went to the new body style. Well, they took the motor out of the van, the minivan motor, and I forget what size it was, but they put that into the Jeeps, and they had a lot of trouble blowing head gaskets on those. I can't remember when they changed the motor, but they ran that motor for a few years. Uh, and my understanding is if you get a 2015 or newer with that motor in it, you should be pretty good shape as far as the Jeep goes.
Now you're talking about the van motor.
Yeah, the van motor they put in there for a few years, they had some trouble with it. That was after 2006 when they went to the new body style.
The last Jeep I had one that had that 6 cylinder in it. The last one I had that 360 V8 in it. But now it was YJ. I forget all.
Yeah, YJ, that was a pre 2003.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah,
a good vehicle with that V8 in it. It had all kind of, plenty of power.
yeah, and that was somebody dropped that in there, right?
No, it was factory.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, I had a Grand Wagoneer that had that same motor in it, and that old motor was bulletproof.
Was that the 460 you said?
No, 360.
360. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And boy, I wish I still had that Grand Wagoneer. That was a damn good vehicle I ever owned. I've owned a lot of them. That thing had that quarter track in it. And you talk about go anywhere, you took that quarter track in, it had a locker under the front axle, locker in the back axle, locker on the transmission. One tire moved an inch, they all moved.
Yeah. That's how I have my Wrangler set up. I put lockers front and rear and heavy duty axles and some 488 gears. And
I'm not,
if I can get a tire on it, I can climb it.
I'm not, I probably won't ever do what you do. I might do something milder. Most of my stuff is going to be sand and mud,
Yeah.
down here. And I don't know if you heard what I was saying a while ago, but part of me mind this thing is that I've got 3 buddies of mine that want to go down on Penn, which is a 70-mile long, strictly primitive beach. There's not a lighthouse, anything. You can't put UTVs on it, or you can't put 4-wheelers, or any of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
on it. And if you get stuck down there, get uh, where they got to come get you, where you're talking 3, 4, 5,000 bucks to get you out of there.
Yeah.
4 of us going together will help.
Well, that's good if you have friends to go wheeling with too. It's safer that way. And
Oh yeah.
if I'm out in a familiar area, like out behind me is the Ironwood Monument, Ironwood Forest National Monument here, I'll go out there by myself anytime and wheel around because I know it like the back of my hand. I went a couple weekends ago to an event with the Tucson Rough Riders, and they have a trail leader, and whoever comes along follows the trail leader who knows the route, and then they have someone in the back to catch any stragglers. So if someone breaks down or has a flat tire, that of course everybody's talking via radio, walkie talkies, and um, it's a pretty safe way to travel cross country, especially if you're in the rough backcountry. It's a good way to go. So whenever I go with them, you do have quite a few vehicles, sometimes 8 or 10 vehicles in a line, and you get that accordion effect, but it's still a lot safer to travel that way.
Oh yeah. I'm sort of a loner, and I travel a lot by myself. Not real smart. Dang it.
Somebody
Uh,
wants to get a hold of you.
yeah. I ain't do that after I get over here. That I tell you what, I'm glad that I wasn't in business when they had these mobile phones. I would probably throw that thing as far as you could throw it. Yeah. I got a friend of mine who's electrician, and he's married to that telephone. I mean,
Yeah, I was too when I was working, and the thing that I needed it for, Ron, was to talk to all the youngsters that work for me. So I could make a phone call and say, "Hey, this is Steve. Give me a call back when you get a chance," and I never hear from them. But if I sent them a text message, "Hey, this is Steve. Give me a call," bam, they're right back. You know, either with a text. So the youngsters deal with that technology a lot better than we old guys. And at the electric co-op, if I had a crew up on top of a mountain somewhere where the communication was kind of sketchy, you could get a text message through, and not be able to get a phone call through. So it was a pretty good way for me to communicate with all my folks, in that regard. But
what was the deal? I can think of the name of it right now, where it was just text messages. I had one of those, and but I was just aggravated. There was a lot of stuff that I had a bunch of guys working for me. But if we got into something that was real special, aluminum or stainless, or something real tight quarters, well, in the side of gas tank, couldn't afford to touch it. Well, I would do 99% of that,
mhm.
and about the time I'd get started, the damn phone would ring. And there's
Yeah,
something demanding about a phone. I don't know why.
I know. Yeah.
Dang it.
And that's a demanding person trying to call you. Maybe you should take that and share that with us, Ron. Let's hear. Let's hear who that is. Oh,
I
he's
don't know
texting.
the crazy part about it is I don't know the number.
It's
No.
probably someone who's asking for your vote.
Yeah, probably. I tell you what, the VA they call a jillion times. I swear. I think they just want to talk to somebody. Well, have you heard any other quirks on these Wranglers?
Well, I know, Lillian has one, and I think she's got the Rubicon Wrangler, and that's the best setup to have if you want a turnkey Jeep. is to find a Rubicon, but they're pretty expensive.
Yeah. Well,
And so,
that I can't afford. I guess I could, but I just can't see spending 50, 60, $70,000 on a vehicle. And the thing about it is, if you buy one and it's got a few years on it, but it's in real good shape, as expensive as they are, you blow a motor, you can go spend $6,000, $7,000 put a motor in one, and you're still way ahead of the game.
yeah,
You know, for $30,000 or $40,000, you can do a lot of work.
it is. Now, I think I told you before, I found a Jeep Cherokee down in Sierra Vista that was in really good shape. It has a 4.0. It's a 1998, had 146,000 miles on it when I bought it. And I love that thing. That thing is, I had to put a couple thousand in it to, to fix the rattles and put a water pump in it and a fuel pump and, to make sure that it was dependable and that I could send my wife off in it, or my daughter, Sheena, sometimes borrows it when she needs a second vehicle. But, I just love that Cherokee. You can't beat that, especially that 4.0. That thing will
That
run
Grand
forever.
here, which was just a just that Grand Wagoneer, that was my favorite vehicle.
Hmm.
A little bit bigger than that Cherokee.
Yeah. You couldn't
You know,
afford to drive that now with the gas prices, though.
that thing didn't get all that bad of gas mileage. It wasn't real good, but it get about 17.
Oh, really? That's pretty good.
Yeah. So
My Wrangler barely gets 17. I get about 15 or 16 with that Wrangler I have at 2003, so that's not too bad.
not bad at all. I talked to some friends of mine that got the 4 door. What is it, Wrangler Unlimited or something? I forget.
Yeah, the four-door, yeah.
And the 4 door is what I want. Uh, for one thing, in mud or sand, that long wheelbase helps you. With that little bitty short wheelbase in mud or sand can get you in trouble. And I really don't want to rig this thing up, for rock crawl or anything. The only thing I will do is put a rack on the back of it, and that's another reason I want the long wheelbase that I can run my bike up on, run one of my smaller bikes up on, carry it with me. I always like to have another set of wheels when I'm out in the back country.
Yeah, I'm not in my TJ very often. In fact, when I was up on China Peak there coming back, my rear drive shaft was getting noisy, so I figured I had a U joint going bad because when you let off the gas, it would, you'd hear that rattle. And so I came back and I dropped that out, and it's got a CV joint in it, a flexible joint on the top end, and that joint's wearing out. So I had that rebuilt in Louisiana a few years ago, and it's wore out again. So I ordered a new one, and I'm waiting for it to come in. But when you need a Jeep, you need a Jeep,
Yeah. Well,
and
I've always had some kind of 4 wheel drive, normally sitting in the driveway. Uh, but just Jeep for what I'd like to sort of rig the inside up, similar to what Mobine's got, or either put a hard shell, uh, those hard shell rooftop tents are pretty damn nice. Rig it up where I can do a little camping out of it.
yeah, the four-door is big enough to sleep in for sure. And then you could even buy a rooftop tent. Um, Somebody I follow has got a rooftop that they use that you mount on top of that Jeep. Now the only thing is you got to climb a ladder. Get up and down and climb a ladder. And if you're like me, I got to get up at 3 in the morning to go pee. And getting out of that thing at 3 in the morning in the dark would probably be challenging for
That,
for
that'd,
us.
be, that'd be jug time.
Yeah, jug time. Yeah.
The, the rooftop tents I've looked at, I don't particularly like the tents. they make that hard shell one. You know, it just pops straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked at a couple of them; they're pretty nice. And I found a deal yesterday on those. They had a 15% discount off on them, so that got it down to where it was like $1,600 or something.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. But anyway, I can do a little of that alone.
It's it's only worth the money, the investment, if you actually use it. So if you
Yeah,
want to buy something like that, you really have to get out and use it.
well, and I've got some other ideas on that rooftop. I think it'd be neat to take a rooftop, mount it on a little bitty light trailer, and
Mm-hmm.
hook it up behind that bike. Now, that would be a nice setup.
Oh, to pull a trailer behind the bike?
Yeah, with that rooftop on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice for sure. So you said earlier, so if you bought a four-door Jeep, how would you carry your bike? Would you take your bike with you on a rack on the back, or
Yeah, I'd put a rack on the back of it.
okay? How
My
much
last,
does
it weighs 37, but it's
say
not a
again?
heavy. It's
Say
237 pounds.
237. So that's not too bad.
And like on my last Jeep, I went in and these exterior racks they put on that go full length on top and come down to your back bumper. And I built one of those rack systems for that last one of mine. And that was so it's like an external rope for them. But
Okay.
got fill that thing out of 84 pipe, and I've got the fenders and everything. When I sold that Jeep, I pulled that rack off of it. I got more for the rack I did the Jeep.
That sounds
I've got
like a pretty good plan.
pretty. I'm lucky that I can build that kind of. But anyway, you sort of answered my question. There's not anything really big time bad on them then.
Yeah, I'd stay away from you can find some Jeeps pre 2015 for a good price, but if you decide to buy one, check the motor out. If it's a high mileage, and the thing with those van motors is, they were built for going down the freeway, carrying your family in a minivan. They weren't built for climbing rocks or, if you're running idling around the desert when it's super hot. They just weren't built for that. And the motors, the heads would, head gaskets would blow on them. And I know a lot of people had trouble with them. So you could get one for a good price, but if you have to change the motor out or the head gasket, it may not be worth it. But
Yeah,
anyway, that's the only really bad thing that I know.
I found some really slick ones. Then I got to digging into them, and they were salvage titles on them. You find those cheap, low mileage, and I don't know if I'm going to take a chance on
Well, and salvage title is probably one that got wrecked,
that.
and the insurance company paid it off, and the owner said, "Oh, I'm keeping this thing. I can rebuild it," and so they got a salvage title. I've seen a few Jeeps around here that way that were just fine if it wasn't too much damage, and you can find out how much damage it was if it was just a rollover and not too bad, too much damage. I mean, you could do just fine with a salvage title Jeep. You just have to be careful.
Well, anyway, I'm thinking spend a day going looking. I've got 3 or 4 of them. And then that Jeep station wagon that you got, they've got a couple of them that are big. Uh, really would rather have the Wrangler, the four-door Wrangler.
Yeah.
Everybody that got them that I know of has had pretty good luck. And it's amazing to me. I think there's more women driving those Wranglers than there are guys.
Well, if you think about it, the Wrangler is a pretty safe vehicle, especially if you put some armor on it, a heavy duty bumper front and rear. And if you put some rock sliders on it, it's a pretty safe vehicle as far as the passenger goes. And, I put my wife in the safest vehicle I have, whenever she's out there. Um, so I see a lot of women driving them here too, and I think a lot of that is, partly because they are safe.
Well, and you sit up high enough to see what's going on. I can't hardly drive a car anymore. I feel like my butt's dragging the ground. I'm driving a go-kart.
Yeah.
And plus, you got a lot more protection, like in a pickup and that kind of stuff, But I don't know. I got to thinking about it. Some of the things I wanted to do, some of the trips I wanted to take. And hey, he's back.
All right. Look at who's here.
Yeah, well, I'm shopping for a Jeep badge. I knew Steve fooled with him all the time, so I hooked him into coming in here for a few minutes. Badge would be putting a 5.9 Dodge diesel in
it. Yeah, probably so.
Boy, we wouldn't get along, Lillian. If I'm in a vehicle, I'm going to be driving.
Lillian says, well, I drive when my husband and I are together. And she's driving the Jeep probably.
Yeah. I was in 5 car wrecks. That's why I went to service there about a year. And I wasn't driving one of them. And after that, I just don't get in a vehicle with somebody else lies on that steering wheel. I'm going to be under that steering wheel.
Mm-hmm. I don't have any problems with my wife Oki driving. In fact, sometimes it's kind of nice. I taught her to drive right after we got married. And when we met in Okinawa, Japan, she learned to drive a Volkswagen Beetle. And she's driven in Nebraska. She's driven in New Hampshire. She's been in the snow country, and she's a good driver. And I have no problem, letting her drive. In fact, I kind of enjoy it once in a while. It's nice to sit back and look at the view. But you have to trust whoever's driving it, regardless. You got to trust them.
Well, I don't. With me, it's not the trust. It's just I've been there and done that, and we ain't doing that crap again.
Yeah. You see what Diane says? Been in 3 wrecks and never was driving. Men can't drive.
Well, that's different people. Now, there's people that I won't get in a vehicle with, period. I mean, just I know. And it's like I don't hardly ever ride my bike with more than one person. On another bike. That's these people that ride these big groups and stuff. That's just asking for trouble. They always got some idiot. Well,
Yeah,
I can hit my back tire.
Yeah, I belong to a couple of groups, motorcycle groups, in the Tucson Harley group out of the Tucson shop. I rode with them quite a few years, and there is a technique to riding in groups, and that's the staggered formation, but you can still get in some trouble for sure. And there's no such thing when you're riding in a group like that of kicking back and relaxing. No such thing as relaxing. I mean, you're on guard and you're watching the bike in front of you, you're watching the bike behind you, you're watching the bike either on the left side or the right side. There's no kicking back and relaxing when you're on a motorcycle riding in a group setting. There's just no way you can do it. So it's kind of stressful. It's more about, hey, look at us. We're a group of motorcycle riders and we're badass. That's basically why people do it, I think.
Well, here a few weeks ago, I had a guy hit me from behind. He just barely tipped my rear tire.
Mm.
And I rode it down to about, I don't know, 10 miles an hour before I dropped it. And, but he was with a group and he got behind them and he was acting a fool trying to catch up with them. And he just touched it.
Yeah, overshot probably.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd pull your trailer bad, one of them 5.7 Dodge Hemi
Yeah.
or Dodge Diesel. Of course, Badge is not a diesel man. He likes the gas engine. I'm about the same way.
We're
And
studying and watch us wreck, Diane says.
trailer, the only trailer I'd pull with would be that seat on mine. And it's light enough. I don't think it'd have me trouble.
Yeah. That truck that I have, I bought a Dodge truck in 2014 in preparation for retirement. I retired in 2018, paid it off when I retired, and I bought the Dodge truck with the 3.0 diesel in it with the idea of pulling a camp trailer with it and keeping it for a long time. Now it's got 102,000 miles on it now. I pulled a trailer, small toy hauler with it, but going up the hills here in Arizona, I mean, I could only do 40, 45 miles an hour. So that 3.0 is really not a towing engine, but it's been a good engine otherwise. And so far at 102,000, I haven't had, any serious trouble with it.
Yeah, I put 320 something thousand miles on mine, and it was all towing. It was a 204 Dodge, and that's when they started souping those engines up, and the gas mileage went down. So I could hook up to a 37, 38 foot trailer and set that cruiser on 68, and it'd sit there and get 17, 18, 19 miles a gallon.
Yeah.
Empty, it'd get 25 or 26. And I run that thing that far. I kept up with everything, and I spent $8,000 in upkeep. Now I'm not including tires or actual repairs. I spent $8,000 in 3 years on that thing, 325,000 miles. When I sold it, it runs like a top. But
that's good.
Carried that diesel to the shop. Better have $1,000 in your pocket easy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're expensive to repair for sure. And like Badge mentioned earlier, he makes a lot of money off diesels.
Well, and I don't think they even make sense anymore because used to the gas mileage was excellent on.
Yeah.
They got 20 and it lasts forever. Now with this the systems they got now where they don't raw fuel in that exhaust system, burn it out and all that junk, and they don't get as good a gas mileage as the damn gas engines do.
Well, the DEF fluid you're talking about, that diesel exhaust fluid, yeah, that anti-pollution stuff is a pain in the butt, and that's what my truck has on it. I had a recall on it once where they had to replace, the components in it, so it hasn't cost me any money, but they're definitely an added expense for sure. I think my breakfast is ready, Ron, so I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here.
All right. Well, I appreciate the info, Steve. I knew that. I don't want I knew that was into them like that.
All
But I
right.
appreciate you coming up, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ron. Anytime. Looking forward to seeing what you end up with.
Ain't no telling knowing me.
All right. Happy hunting.
All right. Be good, Steve.
See you. See everybody later.
Hello, Lance. Badge, I'm not a diesel lover myself. Now, when I was pulling a load on the road every day, yeah, diesel was the way to go. Using it for a drive around vehicle, they're not worth it anymore, in my opinion. That and 50 cents might buy a couple. I'm gonna go. Got 4 homes to go look at today. Get out of here in a few minutes. Talking about that driving, you know, some people are just wacko behind the wheel, act like they're uh, only one on the road, and they're going to a fire. Gone bad. Can't even believe we've been on here nearly an hour already. Damn, Lance, what you been up to? Yep, I need to go start looking at some of these things too. I'm gonna get off this thing. Yep, yeah. Well, listen, y'all all have a good day. I'm gonna get on the road here and see what I can get into. So, got a couple of lots I want to check out too. Anyway, we'll see y'all tonight or sometime today. Y'all have a great